Hi everybody, it's Karen here and I'm coming to you from my living room for some yoga. It'll be a nice chill flow. We'll practice some asanas, some poses that will have a grounding effect. So they should help us feel like more supported, more secure. And then we'll also just tiptoe into a couple of little arm balances just to challenge us a little bit. But we will take it on the chill side. So without further ado, let's get started. If you've got 2 yoga blocks, great, use those. If you don't have any yoga blocks handy, you can always use 2 large books instead, hopefully about the same height for those books. So after you've gathered your props, that's all we will need, and we will go ahead and lie down. And just start with a few easy breaths. Deep inhales, deep exhales. See how you're feeling here. See how it feels to extend each inhale and each exhale, and just observe how that makes you feel physically, how that may even have an effect on you emotionally here. And let's go ahead and link some movement to that breath. So we'll inhale the arms up overhead, stretching it out, fingers to toes. And as we exhale through the mouth, sigh it out, bring the hands back down by the sides. We'll go one more time, inhaling to stretch it out long. And this time we'll exhale, just hugging that left knee right into the chest, into the belly, making contact with yourself here. Let's see how this feels on your low back. And then as you're ready, we're gonna grab the outer blade of the foot, the pinky toe side, and start hanging out with a half of a happy baby here. So that right leg can be out long while we do this, or you can begin to place the sole of the right foot on the floor, bend the knee. Either way, see what feels good to you. Hugging that left knee in toward the rib cage. All right, and then we can bend that right knee, and we'll place the left ankle on top of the right thigh, lifting that right leg into a supine pigeon stretch here. So we'll hug through that window that the legs are creating. Maybe that left elbow gives a little press onto that left thigh. Nice little hip stretch here. And then from here, we bring the sole of the right foot to the floor. We can zhuzh the hips over to the left once or twice and begin to fold the left knee over to the right side. Left arm is out to a T here. Just a little twist. Looking out over that left arm if it's okay on your neck. Try to keep that left shoulder blade as close to the floor as you can as you intensify the twist over. Your right hand can help along on that thigh. Keep breathing deeply, and on that inhale, we'll open up that twist, stretch it long once more. And as we exhale, we're gonna hug that right knee in to the belly, into the chest this time. See how the sides might be feeling a little bit different. And after a few breaths here, we'll try that half a happy baby on this side. So we'll grab the pinky toe side of that right foot, hugging that right knee in toward the rib cage. Relaxing through that left leg. And if your low back is feeling funky here, totally okay to put the sole of the foot on the floor to kind of open up that back. And if that left knee isn't bent already, let's go ahead and bend it, picking up that foot up off the floor. Right ankle drapes over the left thigh this time, reaching through around that left thigh to hug in. Right elbow presses out on that right thigh. relaxing into it, breathing into it. Again, in the hips especially, we can really begin to feel where we're holding on, especially if we can tell which side is the tighter side here. And then as we're ready, we'll place that left foot on the floor, take the hips over to the right once or twice, and that right knee folds over toward the left now. Getting into a twist on this side, looking over that right arm. Deep breaths. Those exhales help you sink a little bit deeper into the twist to relax a little bit more into the floor. And then as we inhale, we open it out, we stretch it out long. As we exhale this time, hugging both knees into the chest and begin to curl yourself up into a little ball, beginning that rocking and rolling forward and back. Rounding out means using your core a lot. And then we begin to come up, popping up into seated and then into a tabletop shape here. Just hands and knees. And we'll get into a cat-cow flow. We'll inhale the chest forward, the tailbone high. We'll exhale to tuck and round. Just a few rounds of breath here. Just take it to the rhythm of your own breath. Inhaling to open up the front side of the body. Exhaling to open up the back side of the body. And then the next time we're in that cat stretch, let's take the knees out, big toes together, and we'll sit the hips back toward the heels. In a lovely child's pose here. Forehead can be on the floor, or you can even rest it on forearms or hands or a block, or even a cushion. Taking a big inhale, inhale, inhale. And exhale to sigh out through the mouth. And then we'll begin to seal the lips. If it's practical for you, breathing through the nose. But the main thing is that somehow we're breathing long, slow, and deep. Just checking in with the breath here and knowing we can come back to child's pose at any time during our practice. Let's go ahead and come back to that tabletop position. And from here we move the hands forward maybe an inch or two and begin to tuck the toes under, pressing up into downward facing dog. From here, make it a loose, fluid down dog where we're bending one knee, straightening the other, maybe giving the head a little shake. Good idea to just slightly claw the fingers here so that the hands aren't totally flat. Helps keep the pressure off the wrists a little bit here. Take a big inhale to come up to both sets of tiptoes, and then exhaling, we're going to press the chest toward the thighs using the arm strength and the heels toward the mat just as far as they want to go today. All right, we'll inhale to look forward between the hands, and then we'll exhale to walk it forward. Feet land about between the hands, and we'll just take those elbows, grab opposite elbows and sway it side to side. Allow that back to relax in this forward fold. Knees are soft here. Take a big inhale, and as we exhale, those hands fall down wherever they want to land is perfect. As we inhale, we're going to unroll, think one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing. End of the inhale sends the palms to touch. And then exhaling, we come to Samasthiti, equal balance, which is equal pressure between the hands, equal weight between the feet. And then finally, we'll take the hands right down to the sides, finding Tadasana or mountain pose. In our Tadasana mountain pose, we feel the feet really anchor into the floor. The toes are relaxed here, no gripping with the toes. feel your knees soft, so no locking out, and then find your full height through the crown of the head, reaching up toward the ceiling. It's helpful to feel a zipping up the front of the torso and zipping down the back without locking out the knees. Really comfortable and supported but strong here. And from this strong Tadasana mountain pose, we'll come into a Sun Salutation C. So for Surya Namaskar C, we inhale to reach it high. We exhale to dive forward, hinging from the hips. Inhaling up to a number 7 shape, flat back. Exhaling, the hands plant, and we take the left leg, the left foot all the way back on the mat. Back knee is going to come down. We inhale to rise, shining the heart forward, Anjaneyasana. Exhaling, the hands down and stepping it back all the way to a strong plank position. Take a big inhale in that plank, and then exhaling, knees, chest, and chin come to the floor, pranam or inchworm. Inhale forward, chest comes forward, tops of the feet on the floor to a little baby cobra, pulling up and out of the low back. And exhaling, we push it back into a downward facing dog. Deep breaths. As we inhale, we look forward between the hands. As we exhale, the left foot steps softly forward and that back knee comes down. Inhaling to find a back bend here, shining the heart. Exhaling, the hands down and stepping it forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. Let the head hang, let the neck relax. Inhaling to unroll, one vertebra at a time. End of the inhale sends the palms to touch, and exhaling, take them to heart center. That was our first side. Let's go for our second. Just keep connecting with that breath. And here we go. Inhaling to reach it high. Exhaling to bow forward, hinging from the hips. Inhaling up to a flat back here. And exhaling, we plant the hands, bend the knees. The right foot shoots all the way back. Back knee is going to come down. And inhaling to reach it high. Exhaling, the hands down, stepping it back to plank. Take a big inhale in that plank. And then exhaling, knees, chest, and chin come down, elbows hug in. Inhaling to slither it forward. Just the idea of pulling the hands in a direction behind you as your spine lengthens here. And exhaling to push it back into downward facing dog. Deep breaths. Inhaling to look forward between the hands and exhaling, the right foot steps softly forward, back knee comes down. Inhaling to rise. You can begin to kind of curl the pinkies inward so that we've got an internal rotation on the arms here. Keep breathing deeply, big inhale, and then as we exhale, the hands come down and we step it forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhaling to rise, soft knees. End of the inhale, palms touch, exhale, heart center. And into a round or two of Surya Namaskar, letter A, with some variations. Inhaling the arms high, exhaling to bow it forward. Inhaling up to a flat back here. And then as we exhale, we plant the hands and step one foot then the other all the way back to plank. Take a big inhale in that plank. And you can take that knees, chest, chin we did before, or a Chaturanga Dandasana, taking the chest forward, upper arms about level with the torso here. Inhaling to take it forward into up dog, which is hips and knees up off the floor, or stay with your cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Deep breaths. We'll inhale to look forward between the hands, and as we exhale, maybe we spring load a little bit and get ready to hop forward, or just step it forward one foot at a time. Inhale, come to that number 7 shape. Exhaling, belly towards the thighs. And this time, reverse swan dive. So we're going to leave the back all in one piece and hinge upward from the hip joints. Inhaling, exhaling to heart center. Let's go again. Inhaling to rise, exhaling to bow forward, inhaling to a flat back here, and exhaling the hands plant and stepping or even lightly hopping back. Maybe a chaturanga, maybe a knees, chest, chin, pranam. Inhaling to your back bend of choice here, nice and strong, and exhaling to downward facing dog. Which one you do is just going to largely depend on the day, how you're feeling, how long you've been practicing yoga. It could vary from day to day, from moment to moment, or you may want to take child's pose here. If you're with me, we're going to hang out in down dog here for a while, and we're going to inhale to float that right leg high. As we exhale, we're going to take that right knee toward the nose, hover here for a moment, just feel your way, and then we'll try to softly as we can step that right foot forward. That back heel is going to float, and we'll take the arms high, crescent warrior here. From our crescent warrior, we'll take a little twist, so we'll reach the right arm back, the left arm forward. That back heel stays lifted. It's a balance challenge for sure. It's called awkward spin for a reason. I'm going to take a big inhale here, and exhaling, we're going to take the palms together and come into a prayer twist, so that left elbow hugs into the outside of that right thigh. The thumb comes toward the heart comes toward the thumbs. We squeeze from the belly button. We try to keep the chest as open as we can. And from here, we inhale to release this twist. We exhale to take the hands down by the big toe side of the foot. You can leave that back knee up for a little bit more intensity, or place it down for a little less intensity. You can leave the hands on the floor, or place the right forearm down, then the left forearm. That right foot might crawl out to the side a little bit. Trying to keep that knee hugging in as close as we can toward that right outer arm. Lizard pose here. And then if your forearms are on the floor, you can come up onto the hands, crawl the foot back more toward the center, and then pressing into the hands, we'll inhale to kick that right leg high, down dog split. Exhaling to take it down. Back into our downward facing dog. We'll try all this on the other side. So as we inhale, we'll kick that left leg high. As we exhale, we'll take that right knee in toward the nose, take it forward and hover here a little bit. And then eventually, as softly as we can, we place that left foot forward. Back heel stays floating as we come up to crescent warrior. Always a nice idea to have a little isometric contraction between the front heel and the back toes here. Helps the balance, helps keep kind of muscle hugged into bone, which helps our strength. And then we take that awkward spin. Left hand reaches back, right hand reaches forward. I'm twisting from the belly button, or attempting to anyway. Take a big inhale here. As we exhale, we'll take the hands to prayer. Begin to lean it forward into our prayer twist. Right elbow outside of that thigh, or just as far as it'll go. Go to your degree. And it's just, we're moving into a direction more than a place. So think about twisting from the belly button, opening through the chest, making contact with yourself through the elbow here. And as we inhale, we release the twist. As we exhale, we place those hands down, walking the left foot out to the left a little bit. And that back knee can stay up or come down. You can always stay on the hands here. You could always throw a block also underneath your forearms if you want to come not quite all the way down. Just check it out. So into lizard, breathing deeply into all of these sensations that we're finding. And as we're ready, we'll come up onto the hands, framing that front foot with the hands once more, inhaling to kick it back, down dog split. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog inhales us into plank. If you want to take a flow, you can. If you want to take a child's pose, you can. It's your reverse push-up of choice, your back bend of choice. And exhaling into downward facing dog. Getting a little bit warmer. Getting that circulation all revved. So we'll inhale that right leg high this time once more. As we exhale, we'll take the right knee in toward the nose, and again, hover a little bit, place that right foot forward. Back foot is going to pivot about 45 degrees so that the sole of the foot can rest on the mat, and we're going to come up into warrior one. It's left hip forward, right hip back, but not enough to torque that back knee. So we always want to be nice to our joints here. And breathing deeply. This is definitely a deeply grounding pose, especially in the lower body. You feel supported by the earth here. The front knee is headed toward the pinky toe here. Opening out. And we've got some internal rotation going on that back leg. From here, we're going to take the left arm under the right. One thing you can do is just give yourself a hug here or come into eagle arms. So the palms might crawl together or the backs of the hands might meet. Either way, so setting up your version of eagle arms here, we inhale the elbows maybe a little higher, and then we exhale to dive in. That right shoulder nestles into somewhere along that right knee. So let the head hang here. Let the neck be free. Good. You've got strength going on in the lower body and surrender in the upper body. And then as we inhale, we're going to come on up. From here, we're going to crawl that or step that back foot forward. I'm going to turn towards you here so you can see. Coming into Gardasana Eagle Pose, we'll fold that left thigh over the right. You've got all kinds of options here. You can make a little kickstand with your foot over to the side, or begin to wrap that foot around the back of the calf. Eagle pose. We're hugging the arms together. We're hugging the legs together. This is said to be very stress reducing, eagle pose. I'll take it. So now we're going to work on unwrapping the legs, but not the arms. See if you can keep that bind in the arms. And we're going to begin to kick that left leg back and fold forward into standing splits with eagle arms. Woo! Finally, then we undo that bind right into a standing splits here. Good. Take a big inhale to kick it high, and we're going to exhale to take the left knee behind the right knee into a little curtsy bow. Inhaling to kick it high, exhaling back into a little curtsy bow. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling to reach, exhaling to curtsy. And then leaving the left knee behind the right, we're just going to go ahead and sit it down. And your legs should end up crossed like this. Anyway, your right leg is over your left. The bottom leg can come out long, especially if the right hip is wanting to come up. But either way, that leg folded under or that bottom leg out long. So let's take a big inhale to take the right arm up high, exhaling to take the right arm right behind you in real close, inhaling the left arm high, and then exhaling, a seated twist is where we're headed. So I can always just be hugging that leg instead of taking the elbow on the outside of the thigh. So go to your degree always. As we inhale, we're going to release that twist. We can uncross the legs here and see about coming up into a yogi squat. The tailbone reaches down, almost like you've got an anchor attached to that tailbone, reaching down, and someone pulling you up from the crown of the head so you can keep that spine really long. And then if you'd like to play with a little crow pose, you can, or stay in yogi squat and play around with little binds in your yogi squat. But if you'd like to play with crow, we're just going to come up onto the feet. Hands, palms are down, and take the knees just as far into the armpits as you can. Begin to lean forward. Maybe that's as far as you go. Look forward of where you are onto the floor, but forward. This helps and really activate that core. Maybe one foot comes up, maybe the other, maybe neither. And when we're ready, right back into yogi squat. Then placing the hands down, stepping the feet back. See if you want to take a child's pose or a knees, chest, chin. I think that's where I'm going to go for this one. Or your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling to come up to your back bend, cobra or up dog. And then exhaling into downward facing dog. Meeting up in our downward facing dog here, let's inhale to take that left leg high, and then as we exhale, we'll take that left knee toward the nose, and then simply step it softly forward, back foot pivots and plants. Bending into that front knee, we set up for that warrior one. Sometimes it's helpful to walk the front foot a little bit over to the outside of the mat. That can also really help with the balance. So adjust your feet if you need to. Breathing deeply here. All right, from here we're going to fold the right arm under the left, inhaling the elbows upward, and then exhaling to take it down into humble warrior with eagle arms. Breathing deeply into this strength and surrender. And then when you're ready, inhaling your way back up, keeping those eagle arms, and then we're going to walk that right foot forward, wrapping the right thigh over the left. Hugging the thighs together, hugging the arms together. For me, this side always feels totally different because my knee's just different on this side. So I don't want to bend quite so low into it. So be where you need to be. And then we'll unwrap the legs, leave that bind going on in the arms, and see about finding a standing splits here. See if you can keep that bind. A little balance challenge. standing splits, and then we'll release the hands forward onto the mat, taking that right leg high. Big inhale here, exhaling right knee behind left. Inhaling to stretch it long, exhaling to curtsy bow. Inhaling up one more time and exhaling, right knee behind the left. And then softly sitting down. And we'll see about where we're gonna head for this twist, seated twist on this side. Again, maybe that bottom leg is out long, or maybe it's bent inwards. We'll inhale the left arm high, exhaling the left hand right behind the tailbone. Make a second spine with that left arm. Inhaling the right arm high and exhaling into this twist. Big inhale, find some length, and exhale. Think of twisting from the belly button. Take the shoulders down away from the ears here. And then as we inhale, we're gonna release it forward. Good. All right, uncrossing the legs, shaking it out a little bit. And we'll grab your props. If you've got those blocks or books, we'll set them down right about at the middle of the mat. So you can always opt to play with crow pose or hang out in yogi squat, or even a little higher squat if that's feeling better to you. But if you want to just play a little bit here with Firefly, my own personal nemesis, I'm working on it. It's always fun to just get into the process of working on something, even if we never quite get there. So you can see that I've got my hands on the blocks, like near the fronts of the blocks here. And I've got about a couple of inches between the blocks. And then I'm wrapping my thighs just around my upper arms. And that's one key, is getting those legs in as tight as you can around the arms. Okay. And maybe this is where you stay and hang out for a bit. Maybe we start to switch our center of gravity. I always like to lean the torso forward and then see how far I take the weight back, and eventually maybe lift up the feet or not. I love the fact that I don't have very far to fall in this pose. And if I do fall, I fall on my butt. I don't enjoy doing face plants. So that's about as far as I've gotten with Firefly. Eventually, you want to get your hands on the floor doing this, but I find it super helpful to start with the blocks. Right, and when we're done playing with Firefly or Crow or Squat or any other thing you want to play with, let's go ahead and sit it back into child's pose. Good, now take a big inhale, inhale, inhale. And then we're going to exhale to sigh it out. See how you're feeling. See how you're feeling about anything we did just now that was challenging. Just check in with your emotions, your thoughts about those things. It's always good to gain perspective wherever you can. So just for later, I'm going to put my blocks right near the back of the mat so we can have them handy. But for now, I'm going to take my legs forward. And then if you've got any sciatica issues at all, you want to be very careful with forward bends. If you have any issues with the sciatic nerve, I would suggest coming down on your back and stretching your legs from that position. But if you're good to go here, you're going to reach the fingertips forward. You're going to come up so you can get lots of length to the spine. Keep breathing deeply here. And as we exit, we're going to press the quads down. We're going to engage through the abdominals to fold forward. You can even pull up through the pelvic floor as you fold forward here. Paschimottanasana. Try to keep the spine long as much as you can. Doesn't matter how far we go into this stretch, what we need to get in touch with is the sensation we're feeling, especially in the backs of the legs here. Once we've got that sensation going on, we soften into it and we try not to go farther than our body's telling us. And then as we inhale, let's go ahead and come on up. And now from this seated position, we'll keep our core engaged. Maybe take the hands behind you a little bit, and we'll take the legs up into Navasana, boat pose. Maybe after all the way up and we know we've got that spine nice and long, either the knees bent or the legs straight, we take the fingertips forward and we float here. Big inhale. And then as we exhale, let's come down about halfway or so and hover. Oh yeah. From here, using the core, we'll come all the way down, just as slow as you can. Great. And then from here, a nice bridge pose. We'll take the feet about hip width apart, the hands down by the sides. And then as we're ready, we'll inhale to take the hips up. Find lots of room through the chest here. Really let the chest puff up, especially on the inhales. We'll just be here this one time, so you can always clasp the hands behind you and zhuzh those shoulder blades towards each other to get a little bit more intensity out of this pose. Take a big inhale, again making plenty of room through that heart. And then as we exhale, if you've got that bind behind the back, you can release it. Slowly rolling down. Once we're all the way down, taking the knees side to side, windshield wiper style. Helps release the low back here before we hug it in. All right, so here's where we will use the blocks or books once more. And if you happen to have a blanket or a cushion handy, you might even want to grab that. But if you've got the blocks, my personal favorite setting is the one block on the highest setting and the other block on the next highest setting. And then my upper back is going to go over the lower block until that low block sits about right between my shoulder blades. And then the higher block is going to come under my head. If you don't have blocks available to you, you can always use books or other household items to give you this necessary support. You could even use a cushion or two. Just elevating the head a little bit higher than the chest. Adjusting to suit. Kind of feels like a massage going on there between my shoulder blades right now from where I've got the block. And I'm going to take the soles of my feet together and the knees apart. So this is a restorative version of Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined cobbler's pose. A passive hip stretch and also an opening for the chest. Supporting the head so that you don't have to work to keep it anywhere in particular. Just softening into this. Take your time to get it set up. And once you've hit that sweet spot, feel free to relax. Just take a few moments here. You You can start releasing any control you might be exerting over that breath. And allow the breath to just be. Allow it to happen. Allow yourself to melt. And if this is feeling extra delicious, you can always stay right here. If you'd like to roll out of it, just gently roll off of those props. And you can find yourself in a traditional shavasana like we were doing at the beginning of our practice. Just relaxing into it, lying down like a face-up paper doll shape. Softening into it. Allowing yourself to be. There's nothing to do. See if there's anything left you might be holding on to. Any thoughts that come into your head, and they will. Just notice them. Say, oh, I'm thinking, or that's a thought. Give yourself a few moments here. This breath, this movement and this moment to resonate within your body, within your mind, and then simply wiggling out the fingers, wiggling out the toes, beginning to rotate the ankles, the wrists, moving the head from side to side. Just allow your body to reawaken, inhaling the arms up overhead, reaching high, and then exhaling to hug both knees in, just giving yourself a giant hug here. Rolling it around and then rolling it over to your favorite side, coming to rest there for a moment and feeling supported by the earth here. Gradually and gently pushing up from the hands into a comfortable seat, and just notice how you feel. Knowing that we can breathe into each challenge as we meet each challenge in our lives. Thank you so much for joining me for a chill yoga practice. Be well. Namaste.